Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and we got a lot of new information for the new Gundam card game made by Bandai Namco, and I'm super excited about this. I cover a lot of Bandai games on this channel here, and this new one looks like a really good combination of a lot of the good aspects and some of my favorite aspects of all the other Bandai card games. So it's honestly very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. And if you guys want to see the information yourself, there is a website that they've launched, which is linked in the description, and they also did have a video kind of live stream on their YouTube, which you guys can find linked in the description as well. If you guys want to find, you can go at your own pace and see the official stuff. But for this video, I'm going to go over kind of my thoughts for it and then kind of compare it and contrast it to other Bandai card games as well. So, and if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. It means that you guys are interested in more Gundam content in the future. And if you guys don't know who I am real quick, I make a lot of content for the Bandai card games. So One Piece, Digimon, Union Arena, Battle Spirits, Dragon Ball, Super, and Fusion World. So there's just a lot of card games they have right now. They're adding another one with this one, and there's a lot of good combinations between a lot of that kind of stuff too. So I will be supporting it on my website too, Eggman Events, in case you guys are wondering, including getting a deck builder up as soon as we can when we get some more cards for it. And then I also did do a live react to this too when this drops. So if you guys want to see my live react, in case you just want to see that, that's linked in the description as well. But this will be more of a condensed version of it. So let's just jump on into it again. If you guys want the website, there are some good pages for this too. But most of what I'm getting is from the video that we got. So starting off, this is a Japanese, English, and Chinese simultaneous worldwide release in 2025. My guess is this is going to be closer to Q3 than Q2, maybe even Q4. So it might be a year plus out, but it's really exciting that it's going to be released worldwide at the same time. That's what's happening for Fusion World and what they're approaching for Digimon, and mostly for most of the games that we play for Bandai card games that we don't get a unique meta, and so our unique meta, or we don't get to test stuff at the same time. So to be able to be at the same level on the rest of the world at the same time is really exciting. Mostly my point of view for that too is that for One Piece at times, deck building is not as dynamic as it is for other Bandai card games. So when we know what's doing well in Japan, it likely is going to look very similar for us in North America. So it has some plus and minuses for that. But I think that deck building is a little bit more open for this game, which we'll talk about, which is great. And then, kind of paired with the fact that we don't know what was already doing well when it comes to that, means that we'll have some really cool discovery periods, which I think is really cool. All right. And then next up, for deck building itself, the construction rules. So it's 50 cards, pretty standard for card games from Bandai, and it can include cards from up to 2 different colors. So right now that they've announced that there are 4 different colors, they've got blue, green, red, and white. So you can choose 2 of those colors and then kind of combine them to make your own kind of deck. So you can have some unique combo pairings as well. But unlike something like Fusion World or One Piece, there isn't a leader that dictates what your deck's identity is. You just get to make a pile of 50 cards. So a little bit more like Digimon in that way, and a little bit like Union Arena that way too. But instead of being restricted to an IP like you are in Union Arena, you're just restricted to 2 colors. So I think that's really cool, and that does help out with making some really, really cool combos with some cards, which I think is great. So I'm a full support of this deck building as well. And then there's our 4 types of cards for us. There are unit cards. So this is these are just generally our main units, nothing too fancy with it. Pilots, which are kind of equipment cards, if I want to say it like that. We don't really have that kind of mechanic as much in Bandai card games, but they're kind of just a modifier for our unit cards, but they go a little bit deeper from that. Obviously, the idea it's the pilot that pilots the Gundam, but I will say that Gundams are you can have a Gundam out without a pilot, so we'll talk about that too. We have command cards, so these are the same as options, extra, events. These are just one-time effect cards that go away, and then we have base cards. So base cards are kind of stages. They're kind of like tamers. They're pretty unique though for how they work for this game, and they're kind of exciting. So I'm looking forward to talk about those a little bit more. But those are the main types of cards. So as talked about, so units and pilots, so they work pretty much together. You pair them together. Again, you can have a unit out without like a Gundam unit without a pilot, and it still works, but you get some bonuses. So you'll notice that there are some like modifiers for the pilot. So you put it underneath it partially, so kind of like how Digimon works, but like in the opposite order. But being able to have those modifiers on the card mean that you can see that this is a 4/6 card with the Mercury underneath it as well. And then Mercury also has another effect that you get to apply if it meets its conditions. So being able to when attack, you can choose one of your you can set something active essentially, which we'll talk about later. But I think this is really cool how this works. Also, this is like one of the first Bandai card games in a while, if not the first, where they just use standard numbers. So instead of like it being like 3,000 and 4,000, it's just 3 and 4. So I think that's nice. Also, this is a game where damage is persistent, which doesn't happen very often in Bandai card games. So if you have this 4/6 body here and they attack you with a 3, you get 3 damage on it. So that's something that's different than a lot of other Bandai card games, is that we have that persistent damage, and kind of how we have like an attack and a health pool, which normally it's just like one number to represent power, which I think is nice. So that's how that works there. And then we have these link units as well. So these are specifically, if you'll notice that some Gundams, most Gundams I think, have a specific kind of pilot that they pair up with. So we have Ray over here. And so if you pair up Ray with this, you create a link union. So by being able to do that, you get to attack immediately with it. So generally, Gundams in this game are not able to attack the turn they are played. But if you play a Gundam and then you link it with the required pilot with it, then it gets rush essentially. So you're able to attack with the turn you're played. So that's pretty important. And then some have some additional special effects when they're linked, but it just kind of dependent on the pilot and Gundam thing. So it would say if linked, do X effect. It's not something that restricts you from using other effects otherwise. As far as I know, this is all new stuff, and this could be wrong. So make sure to check out the comments in case there are anything. And if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them too. But because of that too, I think that's pretty unique for this. And then command cards, kind of again like the options, extras, events. We just get to use these once per turn. They can also have these bursts. So if you guys are familiar with Digimon and One Piece and Union Arena, cards in our life, cards represent our life. And then additionally, we do have effects that happened potentially if you have any triggers with it. Otherwise, I believe they just go straight to the sideline trash. I don't know the name of it actually right now for this, but being able to just put it into it is trash. Okay, I looked up it on the side, but yeah, being able to put it in the trash helps you out on there. So from there, that's kind of just how these work. So they're just one-time effects, but they do have this. There's also different timings. So we have main and action, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We also have these unique command cards, which can also form as pilots. So that's pretty neat in my mind, being able to form a pair of the two. So some command cards carry both command, effect, and pilot. So for example, being able to use this as like their effect, or if you need a pilot to like boost up something. The flexibility in the card design I think is really cool and unique for this. So I think that's a cool little mechanic that they have. When I first saw this, I thought that this was a Gundam that had that could have been like a pilot. So it was like a Gundam piloting a Gundam. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But it's interesting to see if they end up doing that in the future. But it's just the command card is now the pilot for this one. So there we go. All right, and then base cards. So these are pretty unique. These are not something that I think have a straight analog for other Bandai card games. So what this is, so it's kind of like a field, but like a field, but also like a unison from like Dragon Ball as well. So these are in our life area, our shield area. My apologies. The shield area. So we'll have 6 life at the beginning of the. Sorry, 6 shields. 6 shields. I'm sorry. I'm going to get that wrong all the time. But we're going to have 6 shields. And when we go down to 0, we lose, and we get one more hit, we lose the game. So it's like they deplete all your shields and then they hit your base directly, right? Or are you directly, I guess. So but these are things that you get to put in your shield area, and they protect your shields, their bases. So these have health, they usually have general effects, and your opponent has to deplete this first before they can start hitting your shields again. So you not only do you have shields, but then you have kind of like shields for your shields, if you want to think of it this way. So that's pretty unique. Most of them that I've seen have this burst mechanic that you get to play it from your shield up, which means that if this was shielding, it was bursted, like let's say it's your last life and your opponent thinks that they can go for game, you can play this out and then it protects you again, which means that you can have like this kind of defensive burst, which is really strong. So you can only have one of these bases, but being able to have like this effect but also have something defend you at the same time is really unique in my mind, and that's not a mechanic that I've seen personally before, and is really exciting. So that's pretty neat. And then so resources, so this is pretty similar to how it is in One Piece. You get one resource a turn. You have 10 in a resource stack that add up to 10. So you just go 1 1 1 1 between your opponent. We will talk about an EX resource in a second, but you're not able to attach them like you are for One Piece, but it's the same as pretty much most other Bandai card games with this resource. You just turn it sideways, and then you're able to use that to pay a cost, right? So pretty standard for this kind of stuff, but being able to have, I like the resource deck a lot more than I think it's a fine mechanic, so I like that there. So there's that. And then level and cost. So this was something that confused me at first, but this was pretty unique in my mind for how this works. So all the cards, you'll notice they have a level and a cost. So you have to have let's say that I have 4 resources in my resource area. That means that I'm level 4. So if I'm level 4, I can play this card, and then it costs 2. So it's kind of a weird way to say it, but this kind of makes me think of stuff like in Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball's kind of got to a point where a lot of their good cards only cost 1 energy, but they kind of have this effect that says if you have 3 or more energy, you can pay 1 kind of stuff, which is kind of clunky, and it takes a while to know that it's you want to be able to balance a card that you can play for cheap, but you don't want to play it early. And I think this is a really good system to kind of tackle that. So yes, it only takes 2 energy to do it, but you can't play it on your 2 energy turn or 2 resource turn. You have to be at 4 resources, and then you can pay 2 resources to play it out. So I think that's pretty unique. It's something that I haven't seen before, and I think that makes it really cool and unique for how the dynamic works for how you pay for stuff and how you can afford to pay for stuff. So I think that's really neat. So that is there. And then they did have an example game, and by example game, it's pretty much like they started in like turn 5, and then they kind of went back and forth just to do some premature kind of ways of how the game works. I highly recommend checking this out. This is a really good resource. Again, check out the video that they have linked, that I have linked in the description for it. But it does show off that we do have the start phase, draw phase, resource phase. So you get the 1 resource, and then you have the main phase. So the main phase is pretty similar to how it is for most other Bandai card games, where you can attack, and then you can play a thing, and then play another thing, and then attack with a thing. You get to go back and forth and get a lot of like the ordering really, really matters, which is generally how they work for Bandai card games. They really like to prioritize the ordering for a lot of this stuff. So I think that's pretty standard for most people who played this game, or Bandai card games in general, not this game. But some other things that they revealed. So one, they have the EX resource. So if you guys play Dragon Ball, this is like the energy marker. So it is a benefit for going second. You get this energy marker that you get to use as a temporary resource to pay for something. Also, it does count as an EX resource. So if you have, like they do in the video, you had 5 regular resources and 1 EX resource, so you're still level 6. Even though you have an EX resource. But if you use the EX resource, then you go down a level because it's no longer there. So this has worked out pretty well for Fusion World. I think this is a good compromise for this, and with kind of the connotation for how this game works, I think it makes sense. So a neat add there. And then also they kind of talked about how battle works too. So generally, from what I've seen, it is you can attack into your opponent's life, or sorry, into their shields. I'm going to get that wrong so much. Their shields, are into one of their rested characters. And then how it works is that you attack, your opponent gets an action step, which means that they can activate cards with action timing, and then you get your own action step too. So it's kind of like how it is for BSS. It's a little bit kind of like how it is for Fusion World, kind of like One Piece to it, but it's both defensively and offensively. So they use this intercept orders at an action timing. So choose up to 1 or 2 enemy units with 3 or less HP, and you get to rest them. So pretty standard for interactions, but I do like the fact that there is some interaction on your opponent's turn. It doesn't look like it's counter play timing, it just looks like it's during battle, but I could definitely see them having like some counter play timing stuff in the future too. So less like the Digimon counter timing, but it's cool to see that there is this kind of back and forth during battle as well. So that's the majority of it. Again, I highly recommend checking out their video with when they go through the battles, just to see how the flow kind of works. This is a lower priority item for me, but I can respect it that they have original artwork for all of their units, as well as for their characters, and some really nice alt arts too. So they showed them off a little bit better in the video too, but these look great. They've got some really good designs for it, and this is definitely going to be a really, really pretty card game. I think they've put a lot of time and effort to making sure that happens. So lastly, they have this beta edition. So generally beta is for like an online like game, but this is for paper. There's no like online simulator or client or anything officially announced or anything yet. So sorry to dash any hopes on that one, but this is for 70 USD. You get 16 booster packs. You get 1 card set, so you get like a starter deck. You get a legend rare card, and then 2 role play seats, and then some dice damage counters. So not too shabby. I think I'll be interested to see if they have like proper like super pre-release or pre-release events for this game. But this looks super nice for getting into the game and getting like a little sneak peek of what the game kind of looks like. The fact that this also they show it off as well. So this is available at either of these card fests for Europe or for Orlando. Some TCG Plus stores, but looking at the website, it doesn't look like you're going to get those until like February. Those events won't start till February, and then they have the online purchase where this is through Premium Bandai. There's pre-orders right now, and then October 3rd they will be able to, or sorry, October 3rd start, and then February of 2025 is when they start arriving. So pretty great way to just get into the game. I know like a lot of time like demo decks are really great, but like they're kind of tied to conventions, which if you live in an area where that's not a way, that's tough. So being able to get this like shipped to your store or your house or whatever in February and being able to play with it right out of the box, I think is a good move as well. So I'm excited for that one. So if you guys are interested in that too, they have a section on their website explaining this a little bit more in detail, showing off some cards, going over it, and how to obtain it too. So, and talking about some of this series. I'm not a huge Gundam person yet. I'm sure this card game will convert me. But so they have Mobile Suit, they have Wing, Seed, Unicorn, and the Witch from Mercury. So these are the series that they're featuring right now. I'm sure there's some chances for future series, but being able to get like this, like $70 for what's essentially a box and a starter deck, I think is pretty clean, especially with it so early out. So lastly, they do have this how to place page on the site too, which goes over a little bit more stuff, shows off some cards in case you need some more information for it, and kind of goes over the area and game flow too. So in general, this game is super interesting to me. I'm really looking forward to seeing what develops in the next couple of weeks for it, leading up to the launch. Like December 7th is like 2 months away. So in 2 months, we're going to have physical cards that we're going to be able to play with, which is exciting. And it just looks like a solid system. I'm going to be super honest. So that's it for this one. Let me know what you guys are thinking, your own thoughts. If you're excited for this, what you like, what you don't like, and everything else. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.